What was that?
What?
Like a big ding. Yeah. What is that?
He's got his computer propped up on a spaghetti pot.
Yeah. like a true Italian.
Yeah, right? Yeah, what are you drinking over there, Canfield?
Oh, that's just soda water, bud.
Yeah?
Oh.
Yeah. I already had a shot at tequila.
Jeez, I haven't had a drink of anything in like a month. I had like a glass of wine like a month ago, and that was about it.
Are you nervous, Canfield?
Am I nervous? No, I'm not.
Yeah, you nervous?
No. No, never. Not me.
Yeah.
Solid as a rock.
All right. Should we get into this? Let's get into this open walkie. Let's bring it back. All right. Open walkie. I'm Tony. Rags over here. Canfield.
Hey.
Our lovely guest today is Brian C.D. We're going to ask you what the C stands for anyway, but director of photography.
Yep. Also, could you just spell your last name for everybody, Brian? Because I just want to make sure everybody.
Yeah, it's D, spelled D-E-E. Short and sweet.
D-E-E, you say?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've always had that trouble saying my name, Bottolini. Everyone's like B-O-D.
Bottolini?
Bada.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Brian.
Yes.
Where you from? How'd you get into working in television and film?
All right. I grew up in very northern New Jersey until I was about 15. Then moved down to central Jersey and, worked down at the beach every summer. My grandparents had a house in Ortley Beach right next to Seaside Heights. And through that, I ended up meeting a really good group of guys who, surf, skate all the time. One of these guys happened to be my friend Dave Strevens, who at the time was working for a small video production company in Red Bank, New Jersey. And we were supposed to hang out one night. What's that?
Is Red Bank the Jersey Shore?
It's close to it. It would probably be considered. Yeah.
All right.
But anyway, actually, then this is, cut to me getting out of high school. I went to Brookdale Community College. I didn't really know what I wanted to do yet. And I was taking photography classes, something I'd always been interested in, taking pictures. My dad had a Super 8 camera that I used to mess around with. I wasn't like Spielberg making movies or doing anything cool like that, but I always enjoyed it. Anyway, so Dave and I were supposed to go out one night, and he called me up and he said, "Hey, I'm running late. Why don't you meet me at my office?" So I went there, and this is long before Avid or any nonlinear systems. And I walked in there and he showed me all they had the Grass Valley switcher and like the editor and like all these decks and monitors. And to me at the time, it looked like the bridge of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
So we went out and I just kept talking about it. And he finally says, he goes, man, he goes, your school actually has a good TV production program. You should try taking a class and see if you like it. So I did. And I ended up applying to transfer to School of Visual Arts in Manhattan. I got accepted. And then worked on as many projects as I could. A friend of mine who I met who was older than me got me an internship at MTV Sports, which the younger people listening probably don't know what that is. But
what year is this, by the way?
This is like 94-ish, 95-ish. And, Dave had left too. He left this company, started his own company called New World Video. And, I'd PA for him on the weekends. And, as I the school year ended, I would work for him in his office and go out on shoots and stuff. It was funny, man. Back then, it was like, I was making like, as a PA, I was making like $75 a day. And I was like, man, this is the greatest. I'm rich. And then, he would get other gigs. I ended up being a utility for him, like doing horse racing in the summer for ESPN, which was cool. And, I still work for Dave to this day. I moved out to Los Angeles with a buddy I met in college. We worked at our school radio station and made a lot of record company contacts. And actually part of my thesis film, this is 98 now. I ended up shooting Limp Bizkit live at Hammerstein Ballroom.
Damn.
Wow, Limp Bizkit.
With Clutch and Seven Dust. Yeah, this is the heyday of that like rap rock.
Oh yeah.
Well started.
But anyway, we met someone from TVT Records there, and they hired us like a month later to go shoot Seven Dust on the same tour out in Salt Lake City. And that was my first big paid gig, like in the industry, which was kind of cool.
That's a good first gig, man.
Yeah. I mean, but and then we started a production company for a while, and running a company.
This is in LA at this point.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Adam and I moved out to LA.
Right.
I'm nervous, guys. I'm sorry. My timeline is a little skewed.
No, you're good.
No. What
went
part?
back to Hammerstein, so I got confused.
Yeah.
What part of LA?
After the Seven Dust job, Adam and I talked about it, and we just said, hey, look, we're not married, we don't have kids yet. If we're going to make a move like this, let's do it now. So we took our company out to Los Angeles, and we went strong for a while. And his sister came in as a producer and a business partner, and me not being a business person, and then having two business partners who were siblings was a little tough. And eventually they were like, look, you don't seem happy. How about we buy you out? And, I continued working for them. It was very amicable, and I still work for them both today. Adam has a company out in California called Ghost Atomic. He does music videos, but his main thing is he got in with Microsoft, and he does a lot of work for them, which is nice.
That's a hell of a client.
Yeah. I mean, he has a vendor's license, which is incredibly difficult to get. So it's a pretty amazing accomplishment on his end.
Yeah.
And Jen moved to Nashville and started a production company called Tiny Terror Productions. Jen is
I see that
5'3", and she's a tough one. So it's not just a name, but she is also incredibly successful. And I love the fact that we're still great friends, and I still get to work for them today. So
what's Jen's last name?
Rothline. Oh, actually Ansell, Ansell. Now she married this guy, Kevin Ansell, who great guy, not involved in this industry really.
And you're still doing music. Like, I actually didn't know. It's funny because we're pretty good friends. Like, I didn't know that you started out mostly doing music and then
music videos and stuff. Yeah. Live stuff.
You have done music. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then after I left our company, which was called Speedway Films, I started getting into like reality shows and that sort of thing. So,
how long were you out in LA?
We moved out there, I think, in 2000. And, then I shot a ton of like behind the scenes, which was also really cool because, a lot of making the video type stuff. So basically, because of our radio station contacts, we got hooked up with a lot of people, and there was a guy named David Saslow at Interscope that Adam knew really well, and they would call us and just say, "Hey, 50 cents doing a music video. Can you send a crew down there?" So we would, we'd go out and shoot all this stuff like ENG style. I don't know if you guys. Yeah. No, I don't know if you ever saw it, but on the Get Rich or Die Trying,
I'm familiar with that. Yes,
but it came with the making of Wankster and the making of In the Club, and I shot both of those. You can actually catch me for a second on the In the Club one.
Wow,
you got that clip anywhere, dude? I want to see that.
Oh God, I don't have it.
Little baby D.
Yeah, that's young Brian D.
That's like 2004, 2003, because I was in college when In the Club dropped. I do remember that.
Something like that. Yeah.
I was in high school.
Baby D In the Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just did something really big for like a country music singer, didn't you?
Kane Brown. They did a documentary with him. They're in post on it now, and they wanted to do like a really big live show, and I think eventually they're going to turn this into like a concert film, like doc/concert. I don't know if you happen to catch the Oasis did one. Mm-hmm. And it was really, really cool. It was really good.
I went to the theaters to see a Metallica movie that came out a few years ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but
yeah, it was bizarre. It was about a PA, which is interesting.
That's awesome.
It was like about this roadie PA who like gets these weird. He ends up getting these weird superpowers in the end, and it's a little confusing. But that's my only reference that I have for like movie, music video, feature type things.
Yeah,
it was interesting.
No, I mean, I didn't do the doc part, but the live show was a lot of fun. The bummer was we were supposed to do it at Madison Square Garden, mm-hmm. which would have been amazing, doing something at an iconic venue like that in New York City, where I kind of lived in the shadows of it most of my life, but basically home.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the Omicron outbreak happened. The show went on, but they canceled the shoot. We ended up doing it in May down in Chattanooga at an outdoor stadium. And that was fun. It was 18 Sony Venice and a drone, 250-foot Technos, 4-step
Sony Venice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
A lot of high-end cameras.
Real low budget. Real low budget.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No money on that one.
No. Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. There was pyro. It was a good night.
That's amazing.
So, but yeah, that's basically the gist of how I the abridged version of how I got in here. So
yeah. No PA-ing for you, huh? Never.
No, I PA'd for Dave for a long time. Yeah. And you doing utility. The weird thing is I never, even in reality, like I never went through, I just kind of jumped into shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't come up like as a PA in the reality world or anything like that, or the film world. I had done camera utility for Dave too, but and PA/AC.
Yeah.
But it was I kind of jumped in that way. A friend of mine had a show in Vegas, and he asked me if I wanted to come shoot on it, and I agreed, and that was the beginning of that.
Nice. Where else have you traveled for shows, like especially like one that you just stands out that you always think about?
I can't remember what year it was. I did a sizzle for Sharp Entertainment, and it was about frequent flyers. And I flew 37,000 miles in 8 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And the cool thing is the frequent flyers, they were both through American. One of the guys before we started called my producer and said, You guys should call American and ask if they're doing the platinum challenge. You pay $250. And if you fly more than 20,000 miles in 30 days, you get instant platinum status, double miles. I walked away with platinum status and 73,000 miles on.
That's what I was going to ask. Did you get any of those perks? Because especially a show like that, you know?
Yeah. You got to take advantage of those perks on a show like that.
Yeah.
And we
how many crew? Was there a lot of crew?
No, it was me and the producer. That was it.
That's it.
Sick.
Yeah, that's it.
So you were running audio too?
Yeah, which I hate doing.
Oh yeah, we all hate that.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a foreign world to me. I don't know anything about audio. That's like, I don't know what the hell I'm looking at.
I like more recently over the past few years, like I've gotten calls to go kind of do stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm really, really not comfortable doing that.
Yeah, right.
Audio is so overlooked, man. It's like you got to, you don't hear much from them. They just say the thing, but it's like so overlooked, man. It's so
we got to give love to our audio brothers and sisters.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, like, depending on what you're doing, sometimes the sound bites honestly are more important than what we're shooting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not touching it. That's not what I'm doing.
No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, out of respect for what they do, I don't do that anymore. And I didn't like doing it before, but
it's good, man, to know the strengths too, because it's like a lot of people will be like, yeah, I could do it, and then it just ends up like shit. But no.
Yeah, exactly.
If you say do audio, I'm like, I don't think so. Can't
it's really make or break. If it sounds like shit, then it's gonna that ruins everything. If it sounds like shit, it really affects everything, you know.
Yeah. And it's on you.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So making the switch from LA, like what made you come back over to the East Coast?
Oh. This is where you lay in the violin music.
Yeah.
I was married. I had 2 kids. I mean, I still have them.
I was going to say.
I have a 12-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son. And my wife at the time wanted to move to North Carolina to be close to her mom. That's not where she's from, but that's where her mom lives.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved just north of Charlotte. And that was in 2015. And about 2 years into that, she was a fitness trainer. And 2 years into that, she basically said, hey, I'm in love with this guy who I'm working with at the YMCA.
Oh, God.
So, bye.
Yeah.
But, so I moved back up here. I stayed with my folks for a little while. And then I got to show in New York, and I moved back up there. And then a little bit later, like a year later, I met Jill, and the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah.
Look at that grin on your face. We all love Jill. Jill's great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, and now we have 2 beautiful daughters together.
Yes, you do.
Everything happens for a reason, man. Like, in the midst of things, you look at it and you're like, oh, this sucks. But then down the line, you're like, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
That shit.
When you're in it, you can't see the forest through the trees, but there's always a light at the end. You know,
there's always a clearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you feel like showing us your reel? Because I think it's dope, man. I love it. I think it's.
I need to recut it, but I can, sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, do it, man.
Well, which one do you? I have 3. I have my general comp reel, I have a commercial reel, and I have my live reel.
I mean, you can. I just went to your website too, and you just throw that up. That looks pretty good. But whatever you want to share, dude. I want to see it.
Wait, what's the one you showed me first? Is that the general one?
The one with Public Enemy on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a general one.
Yeah. Why don't you show that, and then you could talk about commercials, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How do I do this? I am not technical.
So we're gonna figure this out together, guys.
I might have to
let you share your screen.
Yeah,
I think you have to make me the host.
I did.
No, you just
I clicked on multiple participants can share simultaneously, so you should be able to share.
For everybody watching out there, we're new to this.
Yeah, and now clear your browser history, Brian.
Oh yeah,
just hit the share screen in the middle, and then Camfield will allow you to do it.
Yeah. I just gave you
permission.
All right.
Yep.
Share screen. Okay. Can you guys see what I'm doing here?
Nope.
Not yet.
Oh God. Okay.
It's okay. Just a bunch of old white guys.
There we go.
Hey.
Okay. All right.
All right. Here's the comp reel.
Wonder if we're gonna hear it.
Can you hear it?
Did something happen?
Expose those cats who pose as heroes, take advantage of blacks. The government's gangsters, so cut the crap. A war going on, so where y'all at? America's great responsibility. The police, who's stopping you from killing me? Disasters, fiascos, a loop by PE. The designs that we believe in TV. Rich bitches is who think about snitches. Watch the masses move as the masses switches. System distant, but barely missed her. My soul attempts to save my brothers and sisters. Get up. So it's time to leave you a preview so you too can review what we do. 20 years in this business, how you sell soul, she wins. People bear witness. Thank you for letting us be ourselves. So don't mind me if I repeat myself. These simple lines be good for your health. To keep them crime rhymes on the shelf. Live love life like you just don't care. 5,000 leaders never scared. Bring the noise, it's the moment they fear. Get up, still a beautiful idea.
Beautiful stuff, man.
I love that, man.
Really beautiful stuff.
Thanks, man. Thank you, guys.
Really good, man.
Could you hear the music? It's probably better with you.
Yeah.
It was loud.
No, you definitely could. Yeah, I was jamming out a little bit.
I love I love the snore. That's a snorri cam, right? On the weekend.
Yeah.
I love the snorri cam stuff. That's like some of my favorite shots.
That shoot was a fun one. That was
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. What's the first time you ever saw a snorri cam? What was it? Because I know the very first thing I ever saw.
Was it? I think it was Mean Streets. The first time I ever saw it with Harvey Keitel.
I didn't even think of that. I was gonna say Requiem because I remember distinctly. Like I was like, "What? Like what is that? Like what? Like how did I get that shot?" And then I had to I don't even know if the internet was big then. I had to somebody try to find out how he did that.
How they did there, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what?
The Hangover too. They used it in The Hangover also when he first wakes up the dentist and he's walking around and it's just a perfect. It's such a perfect image of waking up hungover. It works perfectly. I love it so much.
First time I saw a snorri cam in person was on a Zumba commercial. You remember Zumba?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was just they put it on these girls and they were just shaking them around.
Yeah.
Who wants to describe what a snorri cam is to the people that don't know?
Brian, why don't you do that?
It's basically you put a rig on, and then it has a system of pipes and clamps, and then you mount the camera on it, and the camera's pointing at you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's like an arm coming out of your abdomen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a
like
self POV.
Yeah. It's like
you're like, right. It's like, it's like a
it's like taking
it's like a camera's attached to you.
A no-handed selfie.
Yeah, exactly.
but it's a locked frame. Like I think that's what makes it cool. Like the frame is locked.
Right.
Everything around you is moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why when I saw it in Rec Room, and it was like probably like a chase scene, like someone's running. Obviously, they're all doing drugs, but I was like, man, that guy knows what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny though, man. Like depending on what rig you have on there, like those things, they can get heavy. Like and the Weeknd was so accommodating and cool. Like, you know, and actually funny enough, like Famous, when it starts off with him kind of laying down, Famous was the AC on that, and he had to be there and help lift the camera up with him as he stood up.
Wow.
Shit.
Yeah.
What camera did you put on the Snorri cam for that?
That was an Alexa Mini.
Mini.
And I had a 16 mil Supreme Prime, Zeiss Supreme Prime on there.
Okay. So that was maybe like what, 15, 20 pounds?
Yeah, probably something like that. Yeah, with the battery.
So again, another low budget.
We stripped it down as much as we could.
Yeah. So like no wireless system, just like.
No, there was wireless. So the director.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So it was starting to get pretty heavy then.
Yeah.
Was there a battery belt then or something, or was there an AC following him? Was Famous following him?
You know, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I mean, you might have not even seen that, but
he may have had the battery belt because he followed, like as he stood up, he let go, but he was definitely sort of walking backwards with that. And I can't remember if he was carrying a belt or if it was just to take the weight at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the celebrities that you've worked with on all these things, like closely, who is the best one that stands out that you could think of?
The best one that stands out.
Like in your experience, like who was like the coolest to be around or whatever?
I mean, it's funny, man. Like
I'm talking about who wasn't, you know. You're so
busy. My interaction with them is very, very limited, you know.
Oh yeah, we all know that.
Yeah,
but there's no one, like everyone's generally like very cool. If someone's overtly nice, like that's just a bonus. And I've worked with some people who are not very friendly. They're fine, but you know, the one thing is I think that you can kind of get enamored with people because you see their characters. But then when you're on set with them, you know, you have to keep in mind that they're there to do a job and not to be your friend.
Right.
You know, and maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're going through some heavy personal shit. Like, who knows? You know, I've never worked with anyone that was like a real jerk though. You know, some people are friendlier than others, but for the most part, everyone is very pleasant, you know, at least in my interaction so far.
I feel like a lot of people get that like first reaction thing where they go off and tell everyone how much of a dick somebody was. And it's like, you really didn't even get to talk to them. It's like, these people have people in their face constantly, you know, it's like, sometimes they just want to be left alone. You know how many people come up to them per day? It's like, you don't know. Like, you don't know unless you know them personally. It's like they're real fucking people.
You don't know what's going on in their personal life.
Nobody knows.
When the cameras are off, who the hell knows what's going on at home?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Actually, you know who was really great? It was Patton Oswalt.
Oh, I could definitely see that.
What a great guy.
Yeah.
And John Enos, who we were doing a series of promos for. Patton Oswalt was hosting the IFC Awards, and we did like 5 or 6 promos in a day. And for instance, Bob Odenkirk, great guy, but was very nice, but all business.
Mm-hmm.
Like came in, hey guys, like blah blah blah, nice to meet you. Like did his thing and was like, all right, I'm out, because he had to be somewhere else. But you know, total professional.
Yeah.
Wasn't like, yeah, let's take photos and this and that, but he was very cool, but all business.
Yeah. That's like, in my experience, Bobby Flay was like that. He was just, he's firm and he's all business. And some people translate that to like, oh, he's such a dick. But like, he's not a dick. He's there. He does a job. He's all business. That's it. It's over.
I'm out.
We'll move on to the next
You gotta
day.
respect those people too. I mean, didn't Bobby Flay he dropped out of high school and became what he is now? It's like,
Yeah, he's hustling in kitchens for, sweating over stoves for years.
I mean, he realized that you're not going to learn the shit you need to learn in school, but that's a whole nother topic.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What's your favorite type of what's your favorite thing? Because you've done a lot. I mean, you've been in this industry for what, 20 something years?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. It's like
it
what
feels
was your
like
most
sometimes.
what was your most memorable shoot that you've done?
The weekend for the VMA.
That was it?
Yeah. I mean, and the Kane Brown show was really great too. Just because it was so big,
Yeah.
So much going on. But
I used to work on all those award shows, but back when I was like a talent PA and all that stuff. But yeah, there's a lot going on with those award shows, people everywhere.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like the thing I love about live is that's it. Like there's no like, hey, let's everyone back to one. Like, here we go. Like it's, you either get it or you don't.
Right. Yeah. You better hope you got it.
Yeah. Like when I did My Chemical Romance, that was the first really big live show I did. And I mean, it wasn't live, like going out broadcast, but
no do-overs.
We were in Mexico City, and we went to the director and I flew down to go see the show just to, a few days before, in I can't remember, another city. Then we flew to Mexico City, and our fixer that was there had set up. This is before everyone was really getting into digital, and the local news station had just gotten 12 brand new HVX 900s. And he talked to the guy and he was like, yeah, I can totally get these to you. So we get down there on a Friday, we go and scout the venue, talk over camera positions, this and that, and the other thing. We finish up there and the fixer says, hey, do you want to go over to the station and check out the cameras? And I said, yep. He's calling. He can't get in touch with this guy. Now it's Friday afternoon, 4:00, Mexico City. Saturday is a rehearsal. Sunday is the show. Monday is a holiday. So finally, the guy gets back to him at 6 p.m. and says, listen, my boss caught wind of this. And he said he completely squashed it. And he's like, sorry, man, there's nothing I can do. So we have 4 local guys that had their own Sony 900s. So we called the label and said, hey, you don't want the whole setup for the rehearsal, right? We could just go with a few cameras. And they're like, yeah, that's totally fine. Just so we could see what the show looks like. Friday night, our TD gets on a flight back to LA. And this is a big shout out to Steve Barrow at Production Gear Rentals out in Van Nuys. We call Steve and say, our TD's coming to you. Here's what happened. Here's what we need. And this is now we're talking 7 p.m. on a Friday night. Steve preps 12 camera packages, has one of his guys come in and drive it to LAX to meet our TD at probably 6 or 7 in the morning. For whatever reason, the airline completely waived baggage fees. I don't know why or how they did this, but they were really great. And now we're doing rehearsal and we're just waiting for the phone call, because coming in with that much gear into a foreign country with no carnet, they could easily just say, you're not going in with this. And they could hold it until the very least we could get it out is on Tuesday morning. So anyway, I think it was probably like 4 or 5 p.m. on Saturday. The rehearsal's done, and we get the call that the gear made it through. So that was that was sketchy, but that's live.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Impressive on the production rentals part. That's
it's Steve Boer at PGR, still a really good friend, really great guy, great rental house. So
yeah. Big shout out to them.
A lot of those guys don't get enough credit with that stuff, because I've worked on some shows as a tech supervisor where it's like some of those guys just came through and sent us out some shit that we needed real quick. And then you got other guys that are like, and nobody gives a shit.
You're right, yeah. Can't do it.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yep.
That was sketchy. I mean, that was kind of the beginning of like Adam's like big directing career and stuff. My buddy who we had the production company with, and I mean, that's something where the label is going to be like, are you kidding me? And that could have been it for him,
Yeah, right.
Luckily things worked out well. And we kept going.
Nice. Now you're in the union. So what's the difference between like a union set and a non-union set, just for people that don't know? I mean, because we've all of us here have been or are in the union right now.
I mean, to be honest with you, it just depends on what company you're working for. I would say that for the most part, people stick to the rules. I haven't run into too many problems where people are abusive, even on union shows though, like they have no problem just being like, we're going into meal penalty, we'll just pay it.
Yeah. Or ask for grace.
Right. And, and that's fine. Like, it's just, it just depends on who you're working for,
That's a good answer, because that's kind of what I would say too. It really does depend on who's kind of running the shit.
Yeah.
That's a very diplomatic answer though too.
Yeah, it is.
I would say, not that I disagree with anything you said. It does matter who's steering the ship and who's paying the bills and who's running things. But one of the reasons I'm not going to say I prefer necessarily, but I do like union jobs. There's just a clear cut line on who's doing what.
Agreed.
In terms of efficiency, sometimes that really just helps the day move along and everyone get home and get paid, which is all of our goals generally.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Like, like I can, be working on something while this is being lit and I know it's being taken care of properly. I'm not like, well, maybe I have to do this myself when I should be doing this.
Right.
So, you have people and that's their job. And yeah, I agree with you, Canfield.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't going to be in the camera department, what other department would you want to work in mostly?
Honestly, probably audio.
Yeah.
Those guys, it doesn't matter. Those guys are always busy. They're always working.
They are.
Yep.
Right?
And they look like they're not working at all most of the time too.
Yeah. But I mean, they're always working. Always.
Yeah, they're busy.
Yeah. Every time I'm on a shoot, the audio guys, I'm like, what have you been working on? They're like, I just wrapped this at like 4 a.m. I got here at 6. I got tomorrow at 6 a.m. And I'm like, I'm off for the next 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah. And I feel like them, like with gear rentals and stuff, I feel like audio, it's like you buy a package and then you can get it on anywhere, because it's like unlike us, like where cameras are, there's a million of them out there, all different shows of it. But like audio, it's kind of, I mean, we don't know because, you know, but it's like from what I know, it's like there's only a couple different packages that they use mostly, you know.
Yeah, it really all boils down to the same gear, really.
I mean, like once we get an audio guy on here to talk about it, or, you know.
Yeah, we got a bunch of camera guys talking about audio.
Yeah.
It's all the same
Speculation.
stuff. Yeah, they don't do nothing different.
Yeah, they got all
An
this
audio
stuff.
guy come in and be like, "Shut up! You
Yeah.
know nothing."
You know anything what those little dials do?
Yeah, but do you really want to be an audio guy? Come on.
I did it first too.
I don't know. You know, I've never really thought of it that way. You know, there have been times, and trust me, like, you know, this, you guys know this business. Sometimes you get down, you're just like, oh man, like, what am I doing? And, you know,
like all of January, all of December.
Right. December, January, some of February, depending on the year, you always second guess your career choice.
Right. And then you really think about it and you're like, there's really nothing else that I would want to do.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I'm not going to sit behind a desk. Like, I'm not going to clock in and clock out and not get to travel the world and work with amazing people and see incredible things, you know, and get paid for it. That's, you know, it's a trade-off with not being so sure of your work schedule for like a month or so, and then having all the other perks that the career comes with.
Yeah.
With freelance, like what's that, like, is that like the biggest struggle that, you know, because like when we go, it's like when you have contacts and stuff and just keeping on top of that stuff, it's like just with freelance in general, like, is that the biggest struggle you find?
Yeah. Like, yeah. You know, it's, yes, because, you know, especially you look at like, you know, Instagram or Facebook, and like, you know, you see all these other people, and then, you know, you start to get in your own head.
Yeah, right. Why am I not getting called?
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, am I terrible? Am I the worst person ever? Like, what's
right? Yeah, right. Did I insult somebody?
Yeah. So, you know, that's the whole thing. It's just the freelance lifestyle can be tough at points. You know,
it can.
Yep. I had
when you're doing the amazing jobs though, and like, you know, you go to Greece or Egypt or something like that, then you say to yourself like, oh, all right, yeah, this is something that nobody else gets to do. Now I understand why I'm still doing this.
Yeah.
But you come back around.
Yeah. Or you like, yeah, just anything. When like my problem is I'll do something that I love doing and it turned out really well and I'm super psyched on it. And then the next day I'm like, oh man, that was awesome. And then the day after that, I'm like, I want more.
Yeah. Right. You get the itch.
There's the next thing. Give it to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
You want to keep that going, you know?
Yeah,
and sometimes when it doesn't happen, then you're like, man, I'm doing something wrong, but you're not. It's just that's the way it goes.
It's the way it is.
How do you tend to like basically keep yourself sane in those downtimes? Like, you know, what do you do to keep yourself creative and everything?
You know, I do like taking pictures. I don't do that as often as I should. You know, but I you know, luckily I have kids and I get to hang out with them and play with them, and Jill keeps me sane.
Yeah.
Although I'm pretty sure that her keeping me sane makes her insane. So
right, who's keeping her sane?
Right, exactly. So, but that's what I'm saying though. She is she's the best because, you know, she always calms me down.
Yeah.
Which is invaluable.
Right. She knows just as much about the industry as you do. She's been through all the struggles. She knows what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully she'll come on and tell us her story.
Yeah.
Great. I'd love to. Yeah, she would love to.
Yeah. We're going to set that up. Any funny stories? Like any like, you know, some funny or like embarrassing shit that's happened? Because I know we've all had some messed up shit with all these different shows that we've been on.
Trying to think.
Canfield, I know you got something in your head.
Nothing I'm gonna tell on this, man. But you guys know me well enough. You probably know, some nice dark stories about me. But
Yeah.
Not for public consumption. Actually.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to plead the fifth on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you not work 20 years in industry and
not have
some type of story that went sideways?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, what about even when like starting out, like, when you were first starting out and learning a whole bunch of shit? I mean, we're constantly learning stuff anyway, but like, just learning, like any like mess up that you can like think of when you were baby D.
Yeah, I mean, this is very minor, but I was talking to this. It was on a behind the scenes shoot on a Ryan Adams video, and I was just the like those Kino like ring lights.
Mm-hmm.
I said something about, and I said a rim light, and he was like, "Wait, a what?" And I was like, a rim light, and he was like, "A ring light," and I was mortified at the time. For me, that was like I was beside myself because I thought this director was awesome.
Yeah,
and I got a chance to talk to him, and then I completely blew it.
You have like a study.
That's not bad, dude.
Not bad at all.
But for me, for someone who wants to do this,
right,
that's like,
Yeah, we'll do it in like all the years that you've been doing this shit. If that's the worst that can happen, man. Like,
man, I said a fucking word wrong.
Jeez. Yeah.
At least
that's one of those things where you get in your car and you're like, stupid.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Where is that director now?
Oh, I'm sure he's killing it somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name, but he was doing great work at the time. I'm sure he continued.
Yeah.
I think he's dead.
He couldn't get over the fact that you called it a rim light. That guy killed himself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and he probably didn't think much of it. He was probably just like, whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, I was just like, man, I can't believe I just said that.
So what's anything new going on right now in your life? Anything exciting?
No, it's January.
Yeah.
And we're on the verge of a DGA and writer strike. So there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
I'm glad you know what month it is because it's actually February.
Oh, sorry, February. See? That's how long January's been. I'm still in January.
Yeah. I mean, things are slow over here too. I mean, I was in Morocco for 2 weeks on a show, but like, that's it.
I don't want to hear any of you guys talk about things being slow. For me, getting out of the hospital, having a very slow year and a half. But,
right. Yeah. Well, you're a whole nother story.
Yeah, it's true. And this isn't about me, but
it could be about you, man.
We don't want it to be. We don't talk about me.
Okay.
Any advice you would give to people starting out?
Let's see. I would say don't give up, first off. And you may not, it's hard because even now, like my worst thing is I get in my head, I have self-doubt and fear sometimes. And I'm just like, what am I doing? And, you just have to, don't compare yourself to anyone either. Like you got to just kind of look at where you started and how far you've come to this point, and then work on moving forward from there. So don't give up. Like my mom was just like, oh, well, can't you do this and that? And I was like, well, I could, but I don't think I want to. And I said, but there were points where I've said, oh, maybe I should just like leave this and go do something else. And she was just like, she's like, even if you went and got a corporate job somewhere, there's no security in that. There's all these buyouts and this and that. And then they fire everybody and bring in their own people. So,
right.
She's like, just stick with what you love and just, you'll be all right. Like, just continue doing it.
It's good advice.
And the other thing is be kind and be respectful. If it's a PA, be cool, like, because you don't know where that person's going to end up too.
It's true.
That's
they're a coordinator and then a production manager or a line producer or a producer. They might be hiring you.
Oh yeah.
Now.
They'll be EIC in no time.
Yeah, we all know that one.
That's a big thing about, what we're trying to do here is like get people to know each other, because it's like doesn't matter what part like department you're in on set and everything. You don't know what people are doing on, outside of that job. They could be a PA on that job, but they could be directing their own shit or writing a script that's going to take off in like a year,
Yeah.
So it's like,
exactly.
We people tend to judge each other on like their position at work or whatever. And I just think that's a wrong thing to do. So like by doing this is to get people to like actually like, know the person and just get that personality out and like see what your side hustles or whatever you're doing, and like your passions. I don't know. I just think it's good for people to know.
Yeah, for sure.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. I got one for you, Brian. Kind of to piggyback on what Tony just said. What for like new people starting out, like what percentage you think is luck in advancing your career, or what percentage is just like, hey, I'm a hard worker, I'm gonna get the job done?
I would say that it's probably, if I had to break it down in percentages, I'd say it's probably 75% luck, 25%, 25% luck, 75% hard work. Because, when people see that, your reputation is everything, and when people are like, that guy's good, that guy cares, and he does a good job, and the other thing, like personality is huge, because it's like, you could have someone who, look at Alex Rodriguez on the Yankees. That guy was poison for the locker room. It's like a team, you have someone on there who's poisoning you.
Well, you always choked in the playoffs, so we go ahead anyways.
Right. Exactly. You guys know what I'm saying though, right? Like,
yeah. Well, you could. I
would rather work with like everyone who is good at their jobs and they're great people, instead of like, half the people are good at their jobs and great people, and then 3 of them are great at their jobs, but they're just not nice.
Right. Yeah. They're a nightmare to be around.
Right.
That's one of the first things like that Chris Morgan actually said to me the first time that I first like show that I worked on with him from TV Boy. And he was basically like, when I hire people, if I have a choice between 3 people, it's like, well, this person can do the job and they have the potential to learn and all the stuff. And then there's another person that can kill the job, is gonna be great. But then at the end of the day, like, I don't want to hang out with them. Like, I don't like being around them, all that stuff. He's like, so when I hire people, it's like, I look to see, whether or not they can do the job, they can learn. And then after like a 16-hour day, I still want to go to the bar and have a beer with them, And it's like, that's kind of, I took to that. And I know those, like, I don't know if those are exact words, but that's what I like take from it. And I've always remembered that. It's like, your personality is everything in this business. And, you just can't be a fucking dickhead.
No.
I mean, that kind of nails it for me, what you just said. I mean, it's like, our hours are so long. Yeah, you could be technically good at doing the job, but if I don't want to spend a long day with you on set, like
No,
I'm not gonna hire you. I'm not gonna refer you.
exactly.
No,
You know,
absolutely not.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
good thing. And with all this talk, but like, did you want to do this when you were like a little kid, like thinking of this, like, oh, I want to be, I want to work in
No,
television.
this didn't happen until a little later on in life, until like maybe I was like 19 is when I really got into this. And that's something that kind of bothered me, and maybe it's changed, but I think like high schools should have this, like, even if it's part of the art class, if they do that for like a week, if they spend a week on this stuff, let kids know that this is something you could do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I never, like, the movies wrote to me and TV shows, it was just like magic. You know what I mean? It was just sort of like, I can't do that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even think about doing that.
I mean,
I
kids
had no
now,
idea either. I
me
had
neither.
no clue. It was never thought in my mind to even jump into camera or TV or anything. Never crossed my mind ever.
I remember
Yeah.
when I was 8 years old, my neighbor had a video camera, and like, there was no internet, there was no nothing like that. But after we filmed some little thing with my neighborhood kids, like, and we never finished it. But I remember like, being like, I want to work in television, I want to work in film and all this stuff. And the people around me were like, well, you don't live in California, so that's the only people that work in that industry are people that live in California.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like the biggest world that I saw was like down the street. We didn't have YouTube, we didn't have all that shit. So like kids nowadays, like they can see what's going on in the world and all that stuff. And I just think it's good to like, let people know, like, yeah, no, you can do whatever you want. There's a lot of options out there. You know?
Yeah. I just think, if they brought that, maybe your school can't afford to do a whole program. But if you take an art class, maybe they spend a week on just saying, hey, like, this is something that's available to you, like, as a career,
Keeping the creativity with kids I think is the biggest thing,
Yeah.
with all that stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang for the children.
That's right.
Oh man. Yeah. Anybody else want to jump in and ask some final thoughts for Brian?
I think we covered it all.
So
I mean,
you guys are sick of talking to me already.
no, I mean we could talk forever. But yeah, well, how old are your kids now? And like what's the challenges of that? Especially if when you and Jill are both working.
Oh man. I've got a 10 and a 12-year-old, but they're with their mom in North Carolina. We have joint custody, but between work and school, it's difficult to see them as much as I'd like, but we have a great relationship, and they, I had them for Thanksgiving and then Christmas and New Year's, that's tough, that sucks. But with my kids, with Jill, it is tough because you rely heavily on family to help you out, so she's not back to work yet, but she's looking. But these hours, they can kill you.
Yeah, and with a family, it's even harder.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. All right, dude. This was awesome. Learned so much shit. No, but I love it, man, because I've known you for a while too. And like, there's a lot of stuff that like we just don't, you can shoot the shit on set, you can, hang out with people, but like you never get into like what people actually like, how they started, how they, what they want to do, how they want to get into it and stuff. And I don't know. I just think it's important for people to know and learn all this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So-
I appreciate you guys having me on. This has been really
super
nice.
talented, man. Like your website and your reel. Everyone go look at the website, briandeedp.com. It's good. I always look at it and I'm like, Brian Deep. You want to go to Brian Deep.
Yep. That'll probably take you to something that you don't want to see.
Yeah, that's another website.
not a family website.
Yeah. All right, Rags.
Is it time to annihilate the like button and destroy the subscribe button and beat the shit out of the notification bell? Is that what
smashing? We'll come up with our own thing for not smashing things. I don't know. Anyway. All right. Yeah. Now we're all getting awkward.
Someone say cut, and I'll cut this.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
All right, get the fuck out of here.
Thank you so much.
Fellas.
Thanks, Brian.
Later, guys.
All right, peace.